First of all, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here, and I'm really happy that you have come up with this thing. So, journey, music is there in the family. My father is a singer, and mother is a very good listener. So, since childhood, I was very attracted towards rhythms, and then I started performing with my father, and with him. Then my father and Pandit Bhavani Shankarji are childhood friends. So he thought of taking me to Bhavani ji and start my tabla training under him. So I started with him, and after a point, felt that I'm more, what do you call, more, towards percussive side, more towards percussions, different kind of percussions, and the I used to play this electronic octopad with my father. So I have played, like, along with my father. I have also played for Jagrada, this Jagran. Then I have played for weddings. I have played for Dandiya, Navratri. 10 years I have done Dandiya. Then I have played for orchestras. Then even I have even played Bhojpuri also once. So all of these genres I got to play, and being with my father, I got to know so much about the old classics, from like R.D. Burman, Hemant Kumar, and the oldies Salil Chaudhary, and all those composers, singers, because he sings old songs. So when I went to Bhavani ji, and I learnt a bit from him, and one day I told him that I don't want to do tabla. I'm more attracted towards percussion. So what can we do? सो ही वॉज लाइक, बोले फिर एक काम कर, फिर तू तौफीक भाई के पास जा, मैं ही उनको बोलता हूँ. तो ही कॉल्ड अप तौफीक भाई, एंड ही सेड कि मेरा एक स्टूडेंट है, वो आपके पास सीखना चाह रहा है आके, तो आप प्लीज़ उसको स्वीकार कीजिए एक स्टूडेंट की तरह. सो दैट्स हाउ आई वेंट टू तौफीक भाई. So that's how it started, and it's been 13 years now I am learning from Tawfiq Bhai. So, and the learning is still on, you can say. So that's how it started. So um, it wasn't like a new thing to me that music came up with a surprise, and I chose music as my career or nothing like that, because it was there in the home. So, but you can say that there was no recommendation kind of a thing from my father's side, or from Bhavani ji, or even like now you can say from Tawfiq Bhai. They, like, people must be feeling that he has learned under such great masters, and so he must have got some kind of recommendation and some kind of easy platform, but it's not like that. So struggle is there. Yeah. I have been very lucky, you can say, when it comes to learning and finding such great people as gurus. So, with Bhavani ji, it was like learning. He never used to, he was a bit strict, but never raise his hands on me, and but he used to scold, like, if something you're not able to play, so then those big eyes, and he used to be like, baja thik se. And with Tawfiq Bhai is total opposite. He is very cool and calm, and very what you call sweet soul, and he never shouts, or never raise his hand or something like that. So it's like, I won't call it a totally different experience, but it was similar in a way. some ways, of course, they are gurus and they have all the rights to say anything or do anything if we are going wrong. But in my case, I think I could be a little bit of clever student, you can say. So yeah, it's like that. So even now with Tawfiq Bhai, it's even um, because he has trained all of us in such a way where mm, you know we always get kind of an alert in our brains if we are going wrong somewhere or so. His teachings keeps on reminding us, and they tell us that okay, you're going wrong, so don't do this. And if I'm stuck musically or in my personal life, so he's the one whom I go first and share everything, and he's the one who's there to save me from any kind of goof ups. So yeah. Um, See, in my eyes, like definition would be, I feel um, music is related to the gods, Hindu gods, and also I feel none of us have seen God in person. We all of us have seen him in pictures, or we all have an image of God in our minds. But for me, if God is there on earth, so he's there in his form, in Tawfiq Bhai's form. So that's how I see him, and that's how I uh, worship him. So, apart from being a student, you can call me, I'm his pujari also. So, as a guru, I don't think ऐसा कोई है आज के ज़माने में, या यू कैन से सो, मतलब एक इतना सरल स्वभाव और इतना व्हाट यू कॉल simplicity, but so much of greatness, so much of kindness, and so much of love he showers on his students, which is we feel ourselves very lucky that in today's time where music has become a business, uh, we are blessed that we are his students, and he takes care of everyone like his own son, like because I'm saying this because मेरा उनसे एक बहुत ही स्पेशल बॉन्ड है, मतलब ऑफ कोर्स हम सब स्टूडेंट्स का है, बट I share a very special bond with him. So I feel like he's there as a father, he's there as a friend, he's there as a guru, he's there as a guide, and sorry, everything to me. So experience is just beyond words, you can say, because ऐसे गुरु के पास जाना और ऐसे गुरु से तालीम लेना, वो अपने आप में एक आशीर्वाद है. तालीम तो बाद में शुरू होती, लेकिन वो एक जो ब्लेसिंग होती है वो मिलना ही एक अपने आप में बड़ी बात है. शायद कुछ पिछले जन्म में ऐसा कुछ रहा होगा कि मैंने कुछ अच्छा किया होगा कि ऐसे गुरु मुझे मिले, और उनकी ये महानता है कि उन्होंने मुझे स्वीकार किया एक स्टूडेंट की तरह. दैट इज़ मोर इम्पोर्टेंट. सो each time it's kind of what you call a treat being with him, like whether you're learning, whether you're in a session, or whether you're on stage with him. So it's very what you call you he has a power to surprise you each time, like with his thoughts, with his music, with his playing, and with his teaching techniques, and everything I would say. So what do you say, I'm fortunate and blessed that I'm witnessing that this magic in today's time. See, Bollywood was there since childhood. Like, if you call it old classic numbers, that also comes under Bollywood. So it was there since childhood. I used to play in orchestras. I used to play in dandiyas where they used to sing Bollywood numbers and all. So after going to Tawfiq Bhai, because he has a very big contribution in Bollywood music as a rhythm arranger. Like some of the classics which are arranged by him, and we are still fond of those songs, like Pehla Nasha, which is arranged by him. Then Ghar Se Nikalte Hi, that is rhythm arranged by him. Then Jab Se Tere Naina from Sawariya, and at A.R. Rahman and everywhere. So his influence of Bollywood side has also come on me, because when I after going to him, I used to go for his recordings also, just to carry his instruments. And so first few years he was like, you just come to the studio with me, just sit back and observe what is happening around you. Don't just you know have that desperation of just going in the dubbing room and play. You just observe first how the things are going, how I am arranging the rhythm for a song, how the parts are being designed, how all the frequencies are covered in the song. So that's how it started. And after few years, like after 2 3 years, then he asked me to go in the dubbing room and play for him, and started with some small instruments. Then he started, because teaching was there in the studio as well, because you have to be in the click, you have to play with certain dynamics, you have to follow certain rules in the studio. So that those all rules and regulations he taught me in the studio. So that training was practical, and it still helps me a lot. Like now also, if I play a recording with him or something, he has so many unique techniques till now, so which is like a treasure to me. So that's how it started. And after few years, I got associated with some composers who were just starting their career in the Bollywood music. So they have got some movies, just some small scale movies of Bollywood, you can say. So that's how I started. So gradually, like the first song I did for Bollywood, that whole film got bounced. I did 2 tracks from that film. I think the movie was called J for Joker, and Rajiv Khandelwal was in the lead. So that got bounced. And the second movie which came, it was Will You Marry Me or something. So there was a song sung by Rahat Fateh Ali Khan. So I did rhythms for that song. So slowly I started getting work as a rhythm arranger, and then I did a background for some Bengali movies. I played and arranged rhythm for some Bengali movies in South India. Then I started working there. So Bollywood came in the picture very late, because to get into this genre is something, like I said, struggle is everywhere. So it was kind of a struggle, but I never refused to work hard. I never refused to uh, go to the composers and approach and tell them that if you please could give me a song to arrange rhythms, because people feel that why should we go and why should we approach. But I feel if you're confident on your art, and if you know that you can do it, then I don't think there's a problem you going to them and asking for work. So that's how I did it. So then I got an opportunity to play for Ajay Atul for one of their TV serials title track, Mahabharat. it was, I still remember. That was my first recording with Ajay Atul. It was 6-7 years back. So that's how it was there. And then before that, I used to go with Tawfiq Bhai for sessions, for Sajid Wajid's session, then for Shantanu Moitra's recording, and for some ad recordings. And it was all kind of an assisting job for me, but that helped me a lot. So there, few composers noticed me, and then they felt like giving me a chance, and they felt like giving me a song. So then I started. Then I met some music producers of Bollywood, like some top class music producers, you can say. So I got to meet Abhijit Waghani, then Saurav Roy, and John Stewart Yaduri. So through these guys also I started getting work and getting songs. Then I met Amal Malik. So I started working for him. I started doing rhythms for him. Then Amal Malik recommended me to Vishal Dadlani. So I met Vishal Dadlani at Yashraj studio once. So he said that, "Arey, you did one track for Amal which I have sung. So I want you to do one track for us." And that's how Fan came into the picture. That was my first song with Vishal and Shekhar, Jabra Fan from Shah Rukh Khan's movie. So that's how it started. The rhythm arrangement thing, that's how it started. So I won't say that in the first go I got a big banner, I got a big composer, I got a big movie, I got a big chance. It wasn't like that. See, every work should be important to you. Whether the scale doesn't matter. How small the scale it is or how big scale it is, it doesn't matter to me. So that's how I feel, because that's how my guru has taught. He has always said कि कोई काम छोटा मत समझो. In initial years when I used to learn under him, so he always used to say, बोले जाओ डांडिया बजाओ, नवरात्रि बजाओ, बोले ऐसा पेड प्रैक्टिस कहीं नहीं मिलेगा तुमको. 10 दिन तुमको 4-4, 5-5 घंटा बजाने मिल रहा है और उसका पैसा तुमको मिल रहा है, ऐसा कौन ऑफर करेगा कहीं पे. बोले जाओ, सब बजाओ, सब चीज़ें ट्राई करो, भजन बजाओ, जगराते बजाओ, डांडिया बजाओ, ये बजाओ, कव्वाली बजाओ, जो बजाना है बजाओ, सारे जॉनर्स एक्सप्लोर करो. बिकॉज he knew that at one place that classical training is on. So he saved us there. He has done classical for years, fusion for years. So all those sanskars, you can say, he made sure that ये सारी चीज़ें इनको भी मिलनी चाहिए, मेरे स्टूडेंट्स को भी मिलनी चाहिए. इवन फॉर हिज सन शिखर नाथ, हु इज़ डूइंग रियली वेल नाउअडेज. सो ही आस्क्ड मी ओनली कि चलो अभी शिखर का स्कूल ख़त्म हो गया, तुम थोड़ा बहुत रिकॉर्डिंग्स कर रहे हो, सो इसको भी लो साथ में, इसको बिठा के रखो स्टूडियो में स्टार्टिंग में, और इसको पहले देखने दो क्या हो रहा है, देन जस्ट allow him to play with you and all. So that's how it started. So I won't say that after going to a big master, big teacher, I got everything ready on the plate. It wasn't like that, because he trained us to struggle also, he trained us to play proper also, he trained us to try different genres also. So that's how it started. So rhythm arrangement came into the picture like 7-8 years back. So then after playing for Sajid Wajid and also, I got call from Pritam, and that's how I started working with Pritam Da and did so many songs for him, like सेल्फी ले ले, आज की पार्टी मेरी तरफ से, एंड many songs, धूम 3 title track, you can say. Then Jagga Jasoos, that also I got to work on. So that's how it started. And after Pritam, then the other composers, they also started calling me, and so somewhere like what I was doing was getting noticed and was getting appreciated by those composers and music producers. So that's how they decided to call me and do the songs for them. So yeah, that's how it is. See, every composer has a different temperament of working. Like, for instance, Ajay Atul, they have the song ready with them, like physically also and mentally also. So the concept is clear. You just have to go and play for them. Of course, they are kind enough to listen to your ideas and take your inputs, but that's how they work, and which is great in a way. Like, you're cleared with your concept before entering the studio, which is, it saves your time and saves your energy. So that's how the case is with Ajay Atul. Now, if I talk about um, any other composer, like with Amal, so with Amal, it is he sends a track, and he'll just make a small bed kind of a thing of the track and rhythmically, and then he'll ask you to do your thing, put your ideas and that. So with him it's totally different. With Vishal Shekhar it's totally different. They're you know, experimenting stuff goes on, and we just um, bounce the ideas, and we just work on some few new ideas and new grooves and something like that. So there the things are very different. At Pritam Da, I would say things are very different. Because why different? Because in these 5 years I have never got a call 2 days before for a recording. I have always got a call 2 hours before. So it's quite different and unique with him. So that's how he is. Like, he likes to work on a last minute. So, but there also things are different. They have a small brief that you have to carry these particular instruments, and we have to create this kind of a mood in the song. Like for instance, for Jagga Jasus, he had made the themes in the movie. Like, those themes got released as tracks. So in some of the themes in the background score, I literally had to brush my teeth because they wanted that kind of sound. Because Ranbir Kapoor is coming to that hostel bathroom and brushing his teeth, but in rhythmic format. So I had to literally brush my teeth in the studio. Then I had to create a sound of group foot tapping sound, then gargling sound in Jagga Jasus. So it was very different for me, and I loved working on those kind of themes from that movie. So with Pritam Da, it's totally different. It depends on the movie. It depends on the subject of the movie, what specifically is needed. Then with Sanjay Leela Bhansali, it's totally different. Like I had an opportunity to work with him on Bajirao Mastani for Ayat, and then Ghumar and Khalibali from Padmavat. So Ghumar, I did 4 versions of Ghumar. So from initial stage till the final product, which you all hear nowadays. So it's totally different working with him, because he likes to keep on experimenting on one song for number of times. So for Ghumar also, I recorded one version, then he asked me to do another version, like being in that same frame, but he asked me to do something else. Then third time he asked me to do something else. Then fourth time he asked me to do something else. That doesn't mean he bounced those previous versions. He just wants best out of you. So that's how he pushes you to no limit, you can say. Like of course anybody would get frustrated with one track and working on it for 4 times, 5 times, but the final product is something which is um, listened for years and years and years. So that's how the experience of working with him is totally different. And nowadays when I'm asked to arrange rhythm section for a song, so I prefer doing my thing in the song. Like um, I just request them to just give me a voice and melody track, and if possible, if the song is not been short, then please don't add any program rhythms or something like that. Because if I feel that if you have called me, so please utilize what I'm there to give it to you. So please, like, make the most of it. That's all I want to say. So that's how I work nowadays. I prefer doing my stuff. Of course they have their brief, they have the what you call a picture in their mind about the song, a vision in their mind about the song. So that is there, like, and we should respect that, and we should respect the composers for that, because it's what do you call it's their baby. Your job is to just find right clothes for that baby. So of course you can't change the baby, that's the thing. So that's how the experience of working with these great composers, and that's how I work with them now also. So that's how it is. मुझे सब कुछ चाहिए, बिकॉज मेरे गुरु भी सब कुछ कर रहे हैं. सो टिल नाउ we just played one Bollywood track for Akshay Kumar's upcoming movie Lakshmi Bomb. So Tawfiq Bhai has arranged the rhythms. He's doing it now. Also, he's doing it. So I want to do everything. Like I'm blessed that I got an opportunity to do fusion concerts with the one of the, like, not one of the biggest artist of fusion music, like Pandit Niladri Kumar, then Ranjit Barot sir, then Tawfiq Bhai, of course, Pandit Ravichari, then and the Purbayan Chatterjee. So I'm blessed that I got to work with these great artists. So, and they have also contributed in Bollywood. They have also contributed in different genres. Like if you say Ranjit Bhai is there, so he still does Bollywood. He's like he's the he's the main arranger of A.R. Rahman's band. He designs everything there, and he curates the whole set there. So, and apart from that, if you listen to his drum solo, so that has all the authentic drumming along with some Indian classical material, Carnatic material, everything. Same with Tawfiq Bhai, you can say. So he like he has done Bollywood, he has done Carnatic music, he, of course, Hindustani music, classical, fusion. So if I feel that it's not good to tag any musician with a particular genre, like if he's capable to do the different genres of music, then I don't feel you should give him a particular tag that अरे ये तो सिर्फ बॉलीवुड बजा रहा है, या ये फिर सिर्फ फोक बजाता है, या ये फिर सिर्फ क्लासिकल बजाता है, या ये सिर्फ फ्यूजन बजाता है. Because nowadays classical musicians, fusion musicians, they are playing in Bollywood. We feel that, oh, they are not playing, but they are playing in the Bollywood. And I don't think there should be any problem if you are playing some other genre, if you are trying some other genre, but keeping your roots alive. And of course I would like to see myself as a solo artist of classical music, but that doesn't mean I leave this side also. Of course, I want to keep on doing this. I want to explore myself more with collaborating with different musicians and different artists, not from India but from abroad also. So that's how I see myself, even after 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, maybe you can say. So I want to do everything. See, that also depends on your training. Some of them, like many of them, uh, didn't have a proper training, didn't they couldn't get proper guru. So this matters a lot, because there are musicians who are students of great gurus, but still they couldn't maintain that balance. That is also a thing. But I asked this question to Taufik bhai once, few years back. So I asked him कि मैं कैसे करूँ ये दोनों चीज़. बोले देखो बेटा, सिंपल सी बात है, खड्डे में कूदने से पहले निकलना आना ज़रूरी है. तो कूद रहे हो तो बाहर निकलने की पहले टेक्निक देख लो, तब जाके वो दोनों चीज़ कर पाओगे. बोले मैंने भी वैसे ही किया है. ये चीज़ अगर मैंने बजाई है, ये चीज़ मैंने की है, तो उसके अलावा यहाँ पे भी मुझे कैसे अपना अप्रोच रखना है, कैसे अपना बॉडी लैंग्वेज रखना है, कैसे अपनी सोच समझ रखनी है रिदमिकली, वो बोले बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है. सी नाउ ऑल्सो if I play a recording or something, I try to add some classical rhythm thing into the mainstream song, like some korve or some tukda or some gat or something. Because you're playing it on a different instrument, it doesn't sound like अरे तो तबले की चीज़ है, because your application is different, but you're playing your roots only. Like if you play a particular rhythm or something, like a 6/8 rhythm is very famous in Bollywood and everywhere. It's like a laggi only. It's like what you call like playing with a thumri or playing with a dadra theka or something. It's that only. So you need to know what you have to do. You need to know in the studio, if you are doing something, then of course you have to maintain that massy side, and you have to serve them something simpler. But in that also, how you can add your flavor and serve it to them, and they should like it. So that's how it is. And on stage it's totally different, because in studio you have time to stop and do it again, but on stage you don't have that chance, you don't have that liberty. Whatever is there, it's there, you have to do it. So in these two things, you really need to maintain your mental state. You need to maintain what you call your capabilities of doing both the things should be equal. It shouldn't be like this or like this. So if I am playing with Neeladri bhai, a fusion set or something, so I should be able to fulfill his requirements on stage, because I am accompanying him. ही इज़ काइंड इनफ टू से दैट मेरे से चढ़ के बजाया करो स्टेज पे, पीछे बजाने का नहीं मेरे से. जो भी सामने फेंको, कुछ भी है बजाओ, मेरे से चढ़ के बजाओ. इवन विद रंजीत भाई इट इज़ लाइक दिस. He is like, just have fun on stage. You don't have to be worried and nervous or something like that. But like I said, a right guru, a right mentor, it's very much necessary. It's nowadays that patience of serving your guru has gone, unfortunately. Like nowadays they talk for a time slot, like in how many months I'll be able to play this, in how many years I'll be able to play this. When I joined Tawfiq Bhai, I didn't go with questions to him. I just went there as a blank slate, and whatever was there, he has wrote on that slate. So, and whatever he has wrote on that slate, I knew that okay, he's there to protect, and he's there to guide me, he's there to tell me what is right and what is wrong. So surrendering yourself is very much important to your guru. Nowadays, unfortunately, it's not happening, and that is why that balance is not coming in the players. That is why that balance is lacking. Nowadays, like you get to hear, यार पकाता है बुला के सिखाता तो ये नहीं, सामान उठाता है खाली घर पे जाना पड़ता है. That all these things you get to hear. And then they come up with a question, मैं 3 महीना आता हूँ तो थोड़ा इतना बजाने लायक हो जाऊँगा क्या? It is not like that. If you want to do something, and if you have got such a guru who can hold your finger and walk along with you, then it's your duty also to walk with him. You can't ask him that I'm staying here, you just go and see after 500 meters what is there a bumper or something, then come back and let me know again. It's not like that. You have to walk along with him, and then only you will be able to know that how you should play a particular music, how you should approach yourself in that genre of music. You can't sit and you can't assume, and you can't make your pictures in mind. Okay, ये ऐसा ही होगा या ऐसा ही होगा. It's not like that. If your guru is there and if he is investing his time in you, then you should also surrender yourself fully to him, and just give yourself to him that okay, I'm here in your feet now, whatever you want to do, I'll be there, and I'll follow all your instructions and all your orders or whatever like that. But in this also, I would say there have been some people who have taken disadvantage of this thing, and they haven't taught the students, and they have just asked them to just come and do their household work and all that thing. But it's, I feel, by observing and listening you learn a lot. It's not just that your guru have to sit with you and he will have to hold your hand and okay, play it like this, and this stroke should become like that. Listening also plays a big role in learning. Even now, like whenever I attend Tawfiq Bhai's concert or something, so if I watch him performing, so I learn a lot how he's looking at particular qaida, how he's looking at particular peshkar, how he's coming up with nikas of that peshkar, how he's coming up with paltas of that peshkar or qaida. In the studio, how he's coming up with those grooves, how he's coming up with those small fills, how he's adding his voice percussion or mouth percussion over that song. And so this is all I have watched him and learned. Still after the concert or after a session, I go and ask him, how did you do this? And this was very magical, and this was something which I never seen before. So that's how you have to do. You have to surrender yourself to your guru, and whatever he will teach you, like whether it's about playing or whether it's about maintaining balance in both the different genres of music, so that you need to take that from him. You need to we said the guru is like वो हीरे की खान है, कभी खाली नहीं होती है. आपके अंदर कितनी ताकत है लूटने की, लूट लो, वो कभी खाली नहीं होगी ज़िंदगी में. सो इट इज़ लाइक दैट. सो मेंटेनिंग बैलेंस is whatever I'm doing a little, it's all because of him. I don't think language is compromised because um, I would say I am one of those lucky students who got to see this procedure from day one, you can say. So, Tawfiq Bhai has made his own language of djembe, because when he used to teach us, so when he used to say that okay, on tabla it's played like dhati dhagena dhagati nagina, so इसको कैसे बजाओगे djembe पे? So we guys used to get confused, dhati, because it doesn't have that bend. Djembe doesn't have that bend. It has like quite limitations in it, but he made sure that each syllable is covered and each syllable is audible like tabla. So when he used to say dhati dagena dhakti nagena, abhi isko bajao, so we used to get confused. Then one day he realized that okay, these guys are not getting that language, you know, they are not able to grasp it quickly. So dhati dhagena dhagati nagena, so he came up with dhinatanana dhinatatanana, because these are the syllables of djembe. Like on the base side dhin, then the edge is na, ta, na. So everything is same. Just to understand that thing, he developed a language. We are playing tabla, we are playing all those relas, all those chakradars, and everything. That everything is same. But to understand that, he came up with a language which is easy to understand, which is easy to get, and which is easy to remember. So because he doesn't believe in writing and playing on stage, he has always taught us that everything, your whole repertoire should be here. The 1.5 hour 2 hours concert should be here. Because it happened some years back, he asked us to come and he said कि चलो कुछ क्लास वास करते हैं आज. So he had given one chakradar. So he asked us कि किया क्या? Nobody could do it. Like, so we were like no, नहीं हुआ ऐसा. अच्छा आइडियली मुझे निकाल देना चाहिए अभी आप लोगों को यहाँ से, लेकिन ठीक है, अब वो जो चीज़ बताई थी वो जब तक यहाँ पूरी नहीं होती आगे का कुछ नहीं बताऊँगा मैं. So some of them took out books and started writing. He said, बोले तुम स्टेज पे किताब लेके बैठोगे? बोले अब्बा जी used to do this because he was a bit strict, so he used to directly throw the hammer on the hand whoever used to write. So he used to always say, बोले ये किताब लेके स्टेज पे नहीं बैठना, तुमको जो भी सब इधर रखना ज़रूरी है, पूरा शो यहाँ पे होना चाहिए. सो आदत रखोगे, याद करके बजाओ सारी चीज़ें. सो दैट्स हाउ ही केम अप विद दिस लैंग्वेज which is simple to understand, which is simple to remember, and which is very easy to apply on that particular instrument, djembe. So I don't feel there is any drastic change of playing tabla grammar on the djembe, because the theory part is there. It is there as it is. There is no change in that. Whatever qaida is there, whatever chakradar is there, whatever peshkar is there, but that language was needed. That particular syllables was needed for us. He's a great master. He doesn't need all this, but for us, he made it simpler. He simplified the things for us, and then slowly he developed more syllables in that. He developed more techniques in that. So if you hear the djembe solo, classical djembe solo, so I don't feel you will hear a very what you call, a very shocking thing, or very, because I find it very revolutionary. I find it very um, uh, an eye opener for all of us. So whatever he has done and whatever he's doing for that particular instrument is great, and I feel myself blessed that somewhere I'll be able to take this ahead and establish djembe as a classical instrument. So that's how, that's the ultimate goal for all of us, like for his students. So and we are working for it, hard for it, and we will work for hard for it. So that's how it is. He's very chilled out. He's very chilled out and very cool in that way. He never, uh, the best quality of him is he makes you realize a particular thing which is wrong, but in such a way that you take it as a lesson for life. You you make sure that, okay, I won't do this henceforth. He's not like someone who will hold your collar and give you a slap or something like that, because he has his own way of explaining things. He has his own way of looking at things. He has his own way of uh, handling the goof ups and handling the problems and everything. So it's uh, it's not necessary, I feel, that only by slapping or only by raising your voice a particular person will understand that thing. You, if you have a direct point, and if you have what do you call, a proper language of explaining that particular thing, or so I feel there's no need of shouting, or there's no need of showing yourself strict, and because the student also needs to understand that border. If your guru is very cool with you, and if your guru is very chilled out with you, that doesn't mean he's your friend. That doesn't mean you act like a best friend with him and you cross your limits. It is not like that. If he's for me, I would say um, he's coming down a level for us from his level. He's coming down there for us and just making us feel comfortable, or making us feel like, okay, there's no problem and it's all cool. But we shouldn't forget who he is. We shouldn't forget that he is my guru. He is someone who I worship, and we shouldn't forget that that border should be maintained. No matter he cracks a lot of jokes with us, and he does a lot of masti with us and everything, but we know what limits we have to maintain. So it's not like that if he is very chilled out and cool, so tomorrow I'll go to him, I won't touch his feet and I won't greet. That doesn't mean I should act like this. That respect, uh, that seriousness, I think, should be there. No, like, he's kind enough, he's great enough to making us comfortable and coming down to that level for us, which he shouldn't. So I feel that all these things should be maintained. So that's how in his teaching also these things reflect. In his teaching also, like, if he has given a particular thing, So he won't say that, okay, I have given you one peshkar, I have given you 4 paltas, remember this, and don't experiment with paltas. Whatever I have given, you have to do this. It's not like that. He has given a total freedom to experiment. He has, like nowadays, it is like he just gives one thing and he just asks us to develop it. So that's how the teaching is happening. So book concept is not there, everything is here. Like one day, like I don't wake up early, so even he doesn't wake up early. So one day he called me up at 8:30 and I was like in a deep sleep, and he just said, अच्छा एक काम करो, वो तिहाई जरा बोलना. तो I had to say that, नहीं नहीं क्या है, सॉरी तुमको जगाया, ये 2 जन बाजू में मेरे स्टूडेंट बैठे हुए हैं, इनको मैंने बोला कि तुमको नींद से भी उठा के पूछा जाए कोई चीज़ तो आना चाहिए, दिमाग में वैसे रहना चाहिए, तो तुमने किया, अभी सो जाओ. So that's how it happened. So that is his way of teaching and I love it. I just want to stay humble as he is, like he is. He's so humble. I just want to maintain that quality in me, because I feel if I will able to maintain that one particular quality in me, I'll be able to do a lot of things in my life. So his humbleness is something um, which is unseen nowadays. The way he treats everyone, like not just the students, um, from the audience, people come from the audience, like after the concerts he makes sure that uh, everyone, he'll meet everyone from the audience, he'll click a picture with everyone from the audience. Nobody should go disheartened and nobody should go go home with a sorrow. So that humbleness and that humbleness reflects in your playing also after a while. So I just make sure that I maintain that quality forever in me, which he has given to us. So that's how it is. And I think all my Guru Bhais are like that. Nobody has shown that, oh, I'm playing with this guy, I'm playing with this guy, and I'm superior than you, and look, I'm 2 steps ahead than you, and nobody is like that. So there is no concept of senior junior between us. Like the Shikhar Nath, he's 11-12 years younger than me, but I never asked him to call me bhaiya or called me dada or whatever it is. He calls me by my name and we are like friends, like brothers. Same with my other guru brothers. Gautam Sharma is there, Keyur Barve is there, Omkar Salunke is there. So we are like, we eat in one plate, you can say, and we crack jokes together, we laugh out together, and if there's any problem, we handle it together. So there is no concept of being superior than each other. That thing, I think you can convert it into by praising each other. If like we attend each other's concerts, we attend each other's recording sessions. So like if I am arranging a rhythm for a song and a group sound is required, so I have these guys with me. Keyur is there, Omkar is there, Shikhar is there, Gautam is there. These guys are there always. So we are team, we are brothers, we are friends, we are students of one guru. So it is like that. And that doesn't mean if I am leading a recording session and they have come under me to play, so I won't listen to this. It's not like that. I take their inputs as well, I take their ideas as well, and I respect those ideas and I respect those inputs from them. Even for the shows also, if if like say for instance is if Omkar is being asked to curate a set of 45 minutes, so and he has called me to be there with him and perform with him, so I still go and ask him, okay, what do you want me to play? I don't go and tell him that, okay, I am senior to you and I'm elder than you, then if you have called me, then I'll curate the thing and everything. No, it's not like that. You have to support each other. You have to be there for each other. You have to take care of each other, and that's what Tawfiq Bhai has taught us. Of course, he like introduced us to the other artists or other people. So he always say that, okay, Dipesh is senior to them and these guys work for him and these guys play for him. But at the other hand, he also says that these guys are doing really well nowadays. He doesn't say that these guys are junior than him and they are, you know. So that encouragement is there from the main source, we can say. So that source has, you know, has his branches, and that's how we, treat each other. It's not like that we have to just meet for the shows and we have to just meet for the recordings. We go for a holiday every year. We, for those 2-3 days, we don't discuss anything. For like, we don't discuss work, we don't discuss anything else. We just go and have fun. So that's how you see. Um, it's not always a single-handed thing. You need to maintain that relation. You need to maintain that bond with your guru brothers, or that insecurity shouldn't be there. I proudly say nowadays, and like not nowadays, in general, I proudly say that Shikhar and Omkar are better in djembe than me. I'm still trying to find my ways there, but they are playing really good. Keyur is playing amazing drums, which I can't. But that doesn't mean I don't appreciate them. That doesn't mean I don't attend their shows. That doesn't mean I don't, you know, encourage them. So that's how it should be in everyone. I should like. It's not that from this family I'm talking about. It should be from. It should be in other players also, tabla players or pakhavaj players. Or if you are a student, like if you are a group of students of a guru, then you guys need to be like one. Don't, you know, um, what do you call, after a performance, don't discourage anybody. Don't discourage your guru brother. अरे यार क्या गंदा बजा तुम्हें, मज़ा नहीं आया. Tell him you were good, but you can be best in the next show. But don't, you know, pull each other down. You know, don't pull each other down. Like nowadays, whenever like I do very few judging shows and something. I don't, because I don't feel that I'm that great enough to judge anything or judge anybody. So it's, if I'm not going there, so I'll recommend one of my guru brothers. Okay, I'm not there, take him, he'll come. So it shouldn't be like that, it's always should be support each other and be there for each other. So that's the bond we share, and I wish and I pray that the bond continues to be same forever. I'm loving the classical scene nowadays because so many young players and so many amazing players are there, and they are doing so great. And you know, and I feel myself honored to share the stage with them. For instance, Ojas, he's killing it nowadays, and um, then Sarang Kulkarni on Saru, Dabhai Nayampalli on guitar. He's the great U. Srinivasji's student, and so I'm getting an opportunity to play with these guys and explore our music, and you know, explore so many things. So classical music nowadays is getting better and better, and it's gonna be um, even better in coming years, I would say. And even fusion music, but in fusion music I'm uh, apart from these great masters, if you talk about young musicians and like us, uh, it needs to be more what do you call, more experimental, and at the same time uh, keeping your roots alive. Like nowadays, people are considering that just by adding drums and just by adding a keyboard, the content which you are presenting becomes fusion. It's not like that. You need to have a particular mindset of playing a fusion music. You need to uh, have that much of sensibility in you, because if um, I'm playing drums with sitar, so I have to maintain the authenticity of those instruments, and I have to stick to my roots also at the same time, being on the drums. Like uh, I'll play Western grooves and I'll play some Indian grooves also in between, but um, I need to understand, and I should you know, I should be able to uh, feel what the main artist is having in his mind. I should be able to read him. I should be able to sound one with him. It shouldn't be like sitar and drums, they both are playing separate. It shouldn't be like this. So you need to understand that concept first before playing it. You know, um, uh, you can't just go on stage and just play drums and okay, oh, I can do fusion. Sitar guys there, drum is there, fusion is done. No, it's not like that. You need to spend time with each other. You need to understand your music. You need to understand each other's taste. You need to understand each other's music. That's how uh, it is done. Like of course fusion is a mixture of two different genres, but how that mixture is done well, that is important. So but um, there are many percussionists and tabla players and drummers and keyboard players or classical players who are doing it well nowadays, and I get an opportunity to perform with them, so I like it. So but gradually that that sensibility will come, and they will get even better and better and better, and this applies on me also. I don't call myself complete fusion artist or complete classical artist or complete Bollywood artist. There is a lot to explore, there is a lot to learn, and that's how you uh, you know take yourself ahead in your career, in your life. So that's how I feel. See, qualities of good accompanist, it's not only playing soft. Like uh, it is understood, or it is what you call a mindset, or an image is set. Just playing soft is an accompaniment. It is not like that. Accompaniment is something you have to make your main artist comfortable with your playing. You have to make him or her realize that, okay, don't worry, I'm there to give you a smooth ride. And in between, if you get a chance, and if you get a chance to, just show a glimpse of your playing, do it. But again, it's not just about playing soft. It's about understanding their music, understanding the main artist, understanding his mood on stage, in what mood he is today, and spending time with him again. So accompaniment is very important. Like you do a riyaz of solo performance, but also you should do a riyaz of accompaniment. You should match your beats with those notes, and you should that those two temperaments should go together on stage. That's what I feel. Like two psychologies meeting together, and they are sounding one. So, but keeping the main artist up, and you know giving him a nice smooth road to walk on, and that's your duty, how smooth that ride should be. So that's how the accompaniment thing is, and that's how I see it. Music is something which is very pure, and it's like an oxygen to me. So you don't have to do a course of breathing, it's natural. So I feel being under one guru, and surrendering yourself to your guru is more better and superior than these degrees and all, because I never paid attention of having degrees. And if it was like that, then I have a degree of BCom with me. What's the point? There's no difference. So Guru Shishya Parampara is very much important. I haven't tied Ganda from Tawfiq Bhai, but the whole procedure is the same. The whole process is the same. It's Guru Shishya Parampara only. It's just that formality is not there because of today's time. Like we are living in today's time, and he is also modern mentally. So, but he has given all those sanskars of Guru Shishya Parampara. Every year on Guru Purnima, I go to him and do the puja of him like in a traditional way. So this degree, I won't say it is dangerous, because in West the degree format is there. They don't have Guru Shishya Parampara. They don't have classical discipline of something, because they believe in study, and they believe in having a degree or grades, you can call it. But we have our culture, and which is really really rich, and I feel we must follow that. And see, taking degree is not going to prove you a good musician. It's just going to prove you as a certified musician. It's not going to prove you as a good musician, I feel. And like, until you don't, you know, um, go in that zone of learning in your traditional way and from your guru and under your guru, and you know, follow his footsteps and his teachings, that all these things doesn't come under any university, or no university can teach you all this. No university can teach you the values of your tradition. You can go there, give exams, and just, you know, pass or fail, whatever it is. But those sanskar, I would say, no university can give you, which a guru can give. So I won't criticize degrees and universities, but personally I haven't followed that. And um, if someone asks me that what do you feel about it, then it is this, that Guru Shishya Parampara is the only thing that makes you a good human, that makes you a good musician. So that's how it is to me. So that is it. This particular concept, Journey to the Rhythm, the workshop, it came in my mind, and I really felt like doing it, and uh, taking this concept ahead. And because uh, we keep on hearing rhythm arranged by so and so, and rhythm conducted by so and so, especially arranged. Nobody knows what exactly does it mean, what rhythm arrangement is all about, because there are many young music producers and composers who are entering the field and trying their hands. So it just that it's just a small help from my side, sharing my experiences with them, that what things you need to keep in mind, and before entering the studio, and before, especially when you're doing a rhythm section for a particular song. So I decided to do a workshop on this. So I named it as Journey to the Rhythm. It has nothing to do with my journey. It has to do with the journey of rhythm from that era till now, because we have listened, heard the stories of those times when there was no click, there was just a hand of an arranger, and you have to play looking at their hand and as a click. So the lay used to be up and down in those early, those old songs. Then the click concept came. Then how important it is to be on the click, how important it is to keep your rhythm arrangement such which doesn't disturb the lyrics, which doesn't disturb the composition, and which doesn't affect the other elements in the song. So that's how the idea came up, because I am been fortunate to work with the leading composers of our country. So just to share my experiences and just to help them, I started doing the workshop. So first workshop I did on 16th of February in Noida at T Series Stage Works and with Swarit Foundation. So, and the second workshop I did on 22nd of February of 2020, and that was in Mumbai. So that was organized by Afield Productions, the company who looks after my shows and all. So, and I was lucky enough to get the space from Pandit Niladri Kumarji. He allowed us to do it at his academy. So I just want to share with those with the young music producers and rhythmists and percussionists and composers and etc., that you need to understand this concept, because um, rhythm is equally important in the song, like the lyrics and the tune. It plays a very big role. Like, just imagine yourself listening to a song without the rhythms. You won't feel anything. Rhythm adds that soul in the song, adds that pulse in the song. So, whatever experiences, good or bad, I have gone through, I just like to share it with them. Like, these things you should keep in mind, and these things you should avoid while doing a session or while doing recording, and while recording rhythms especially. So the idea is to just spread the knowledge, and whatever I have learned from my guru, I'm sharing that. So that is that.